Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Indie Creative Comics Podcast, where we are all about independent comics. I'm one of your hosts. Oh, look at that. I didn't even turn it off this time. Angel with John Pepe.
How's it going, Angel?
You like in the middle of my intro, I realized that I never put up the screen. So it's going to be what? This is episode 173.
Wow.
So in 173 episodes, this is the first one we actually had no home screen before we popped on. Because we like to surprise you guys. Because you never know what we're going to look like from week to week. Now there was no surprise. It's all good. How you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. It's cold. Snow this weekend. Big snow.
Dude, I shoveled on Saturday, and then Sunday was okay, during the day, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize that it was supposed to snow overnight. And I work, and I have to leave at 2 o'clock in the morning to go to work. And I walked out, and I was like, mother fudger. I was covered. I was like, 2 o'clock in the morning, I have to freaking take all the stuff off. Jesus, it's just crazy. I just can't. I can't wait. I mean, we got another week, and then January's over, which is already insane to me.
I know.
And then we got maybe I'll say February is going to be shitstorm of just freaking cold weather. And then March.
I always look to mid to late March for it to just start to feel comfortable, to start to wear the lighter jacket.
Yeah, so I figure about 4 or 5 weeks we'll get into that weather where we can just you know what? I'll take rain all day than freaking snow.
Yeah, my toes don't warm up until April though.
Frostbite, you lose one every year. You're down to 7 toes.
Maybe that's poor circulation. I should probably see a doctor about that.
Yes. All right, guys. Yes, we've already gone off into a tangent. We're already 2 minutes in talking about the weather and stuff like that. But welcome
because there's nothing else to talk about. There's no news.
No news this week. But welcome to another episode of the Indie Creative Podcast. If this is your first time chiming in, welcome. This is a podcast really dedicated to small press, independent comics that we try to highlight each week. Everything from what you would get from the retailers, some direct market stuff, and even some Kickstarter campaign stuff that we have this week. So we try to just, read as much as we can and share it with you guys. Some of the rules, the main rule that we have is we don't really shit on anything. Only coming from the creative side, we know how hard it is to begin with, just to get things made. So it's really just whether or not something meshes with us. And, if something doesn't mesh with us, we're honest about that, but it doesn't mean that it's not for somebody else that's out there. And that's what we try to recommend, because we've read some stuff that's just not in our wheelhouse. And I know I say it every week, and I'll say it every week till I die. Anthropomorphic stuff, bleh. Except for that one that I read. What was the John Wick dog one called?
Oh, Good Boy, right?
Good Boy, god damn it! I was just watching John Wick too, and dude, that scene with the dog, just the puppy dying, is every single time. Just anybody who kills a puppy just needs to go to hell. And stuff. So all right, so like we said, we have no news this week, so we do have a couple of books to review. So Monday's our time to talk about the stuff that we read. We have, who was on just last week?
Stephen McCardle.
Yeah, if you guys haven't had a chance to listen to that podcast, definitely go over to our YouTube channel and check it out. Yeah, really cool guy. Just really some awesome stuff. It's funny how things work out, because I had just literally finished picking up those Judge Dredd case file books, because I wanted to just flip through it and just really admire some black and white art and stuff like that. And it's so funny that I read that, then I see his stuff, and it's just it's so familiar. Come to find out that there was some where he was just inspired by some of that stuff, which is cool. Check it out.
Just a true sort of renegade, old school self-publisher. Started doing his books, Vendetta, in the 90s, and has recently brought them back in the last few years, along with Crowbar 9. Some really neat stuff. Really neat guy.
Publishing on the Red Bullet. And it's funny because for me, I'm inquisitive, and just to find out where people's heads are with naming conventions, stuff like that. and just because he thought it sounded cool.
Yeah, yep,
That's
yep,
the
yep.
best fucking answer.
And also a musician as well. If you ever want to check out his now defunct metal band, Skullhammer. It's Skullhammer with 2 words, not to be confused with any other Skulls Hammers out there. But yeah, check them out. It's some good stuff. It's some good like '90s metal, like late '90s metal. Just some good times. Good
It
times.
is. It was pretty cool. Yeah, so definitely check that out. It's up on the YouTube channel now and stuff like that, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Some really cool news before we head off though is because we got this Kickstarter done and like the rewards and everything are coming in little by little. I got all the T-shirts that people ordered and hats and stuff like that, and then I got the Marek dog tags.
Very cool.
Pretty cool. Yeah, it's got his. Can I see it from this side? I don't even know if I can bring it up to the camera. No, I can't really see it because it's shiny metal. But yeah, it's pretty cool. So whoever ordered this stuff, they're going to be getting it. Now I'm just waiting on the books, the posters, and all that stuff. Gone. And then probably by the end of this month, or very beginning of February, is where we'll see issue 2 going up.
Nice.
And people will have an opportunity to get issue 1 and 2. I think we're going to do less gimmicky stuff for the second one. So like T-shirts and stuff like that will be offered, but if they want to pay for it on the side. And I think the only thing I have actually that I'm contemplating is we got Marek's dog tags, so now we'll do Leroy's dog tags cool. For the second issue, which would be pretty cool. And then should I announce it? I'm trying to think if I should announce it because I got it sent out and I'm waiting for it to come back. Maybe I'll leave it as a surprise because we did sort of like these certificates for whoever bought like physical copies of the issue 1. And basically, there's 4 issues in this first the first arc. And you can collect a certificate for each one. And if you turn in 1 certificate, you can get a certain prize. If you turn in all 4, then you'll get this one particular prize, which I'm really excited about. I don't want to say what it is until I actually get it in my hand because I want to see what it looks like.
Can I guess? Is it the serum that turned Marek into a werewolf boy?
Dude, I fucking wish. That would be fucking great if I could do that. Maybe I'll just put some like yellow orangey juice in a tube and just send it out. But no, yeah, it's pretty cool because like there's so many things that are available now for such a lower price that we couldn't get, not even 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a bunch of people doing this stuff. So it's not an action figure. I looked into that too. It would be fucking cool if I can get a Marek action figure. Maybe something along those lines. So we'll see. Yeah, so stay tuned for that. I'm really excited. We're trying to do stuff that we normally wouldn't get with just the regular comics, stuff like that. So, and it's really cool. Like some of these supporters is just freaking awesome.
Nice.
So we're really excited about that. I'm actually lettering it right now and finishing off the balloons for all the advanced copy people. You'll be getting a copy of that as well because you're an advanced reader.
I do read at an advanced level.
You do. It's at least second grade, which is really important. All right, cool. So no news other than what I just went into. So we're gonna shift into the reviews for this week. Really excited because we have a Kickstarter book this week. I think we're gonna leave that one for last. So I'm gonna have you go ahead and start with your book.
All right, very cool.
You had.
So this I have is from Mad Cave Studios, and it's called Where Does the Rainbow End? And Angel, how much I love dystopian, futuristic stories. And yet the last few that I have pulled, I've really enjoyed. A lot of them have hit like a really nice sweet spot for me. Sometimes when you're looking into like that dystopian future and things are run down and blah, 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 it can be very heavy. It can be kind of a drag.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I like when there's something, whether there's like a good like rollicking adventure attached, or there's some sort of heart to it, or some humor thrown in. And this kind of does this. Where Does the Rainbow End is written by Francesca Perillo, illustrated by Stefano Cardoselli, colored by Lorenzo Scaramella, lettered by Buddy Baudouin, and has a logo designed by Tim Daniel, edited by James B. Emmett, and book design by Camilo Sanchez. And this is a version of New York. They actually give you a nice little map right on the first page there. This version of New York that is slightly different from what we know. So basically, robots are big. Everyone's got a robot. Robots do all the stuff, all the construction and the cleaning and the cooking and the right. So it's a real robot-run society in the fact that humans go about their business doing their thing, but the robots do all the nitty-gritty cleaning and hard work stuff. And so the robots, though, don't live with the humans. So they basically go to work in like the island of Manhattan or Brooklyn or Queens, but they live on this giant landfill. And there's two types of robots. There's the more domestic ones, and then there's that are the workforce, and then there's the military robots. Now you have a utopian society where these military robots are no longer needed, so they live like right next to the toxic nuclear waste area in a place called the Dark Cage, whereas the working robots, the working class robots, live in what's called the Rainbow. And these robots are great. They have personalities. They kind of like banter back and forth with each other. And you're following basically this one robot named Ralph, who's just like a big rusty robot guy. Perpetually has a smile on his face. It's just kind of neat stuff there.
Wait, hang on to that for a second.
You want to make it a little bigger? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's Ralph, right? With a little big smile, goofy robot smile. And he is coming home from work. And it's like a really long commute. And he's a robot. He walks. They don't take subways, right? Because they're robots, right? And these worker class robots, they are perpetually charged. They don't ever need to be recharged. The older style military robots do need to be charged. Like their batteries will run out. And they're kind of, like I said, no one's taking care of them. But these guys, they're still functional members of the human society as far as being the workforce. And one day Ralph finds a baby in a bassinet in the middle of like the landfill on his way back home to Rainbow. And just instantly is just like, this is the most beautiful creature ever, and takes the baby home and winds up raising this human baby in their robot society, along with Odetta and Jackson, two other robots. And you see them there on the cover. And you kind of follow the how they take care of this baby. Like, so you're set up in this first issue. And that this child grows up and she becomes very skilled at repairing and maintaining the robots. So she's serving a function there. There's, some people question, wait, there's this kid living with the robots, and one person's like, oh no, it's fine. It's for someone who works for the city, and she can't take care of the kid. So they watch the kid, which is a myth around this child, at least. This specific child, the girl that they name Gilda. But there are some surprises at the end of this first issue that could allude to that myth that is following her. And then, of course, you do have your major conflict brewing, where the robots, the military robots that are all just breaking down and not functioning, they catch wind of the fact that there's this human girl who can repair the robots. So, of course, they want her for their purposes to help repair them, but they only know one way to go about getting what they want. So that's sort of your conflict building right there. I just thought this was so cute and endearing, even though it's a very sort of ugly world. And again, I love the art style. It is like loose, but meticulously detailed. I think if this gets an animated treatment, this is a great way to go aesthetically. And just the scenes with Ralph raising the girl, and just the bond that they grow, and how Odetta is at first like resistant of of seeing this baby, but then the screen on her visor that on her faceplate that registers her emotions goes from like sad face to a heart, and it's
Yeah.
just like a really neat moment. So this
So
kind of
wait. Before you go any further,
yeah
questions.
yeah.
What the fuck does she eat?
So that's a big part. They do their research and they find out like, oh, they have to learn how to make pasta. There's a whole thing about how they learn how to make pasta. One of the robots because that kind of helps out, he actually makes sauce for a restaurant in Manhattan, and so he
Right.
brings like the extra tomato sauce back to Rainbow, and there's a whole thing, where he makes the sauce to the way that the humans like it. They learn how to make pasta, so they learn how to raise her, and it's actually
That's
really
crazy.
cool,
Okay.
yeah. And this really took me by surprise. I thought this was going to be like some real sort of dark, depressing, robot uprising against human thing. But no, this is like, there's definitely an allegory in there about second class citizens and whatnots, but the sweetness and the heart, and that relationship of the robots don't have this animosity towards humans, and so it's sort of like fits within their quote unquote programming that they would want to take care of this girl, and decide to raise her. And again, I like the fact that the robots have personality and they interact with each other. So yeah, Where Does the Rainbow End by Mad Cave. Great start on this first issue. Really looking, like I said, you get a really good setup. You see where this is going to go, at least for the second issue. I don't know how long this is going to run, if it's going to tell one story or if that story is going to kind of evolve and tell more stories as we go. But good stuff. Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, guys, check it out. Where Does the Rainbow End from Matt Cave. They've been coming out with a ton of stuff. Like, it's crazy.
And you know what? One thing I did want to point out, they used to have a lot thinner paper stock,
right?
If I recall correctly, and now they've kind of upgraded their paper stock a little bit too. So I feel like I remember some of their stuff from a few years ago being a little flimsy.
Yeah,
but this holds nice. This is nice comic.
Yeah, and then something really interesting for you guys that are creators looking to get into stores and stuff like that. Mad Cave is actually a sub distributor. So basically, you can submit to them your book so that it can get distributed underneath Mad Cave through Lunar. Because I know Lunar's not taking anybody right now because they have so many under their list. And this is a great way if you want to get into stores and can't get into either PRH or Lunar, who are the two big distributors right now in the US. It's a really cool way. They have I think it's what is it under? Oh no, maybe it's not Mad Cave. I think it's Massive. Yeah, not Mad Cave, Massive.
That used to be Whatnot. Yeah,
they used to be Whatnot. It's under them, but still. These
still
guys
good advice
stuff every week. Yeah. Maybe I'll put up the link for that as well. All right, cool. Check them out. Ignore everything else I said. All right, so I picked up this book. This is called Babs, The Black Road South. This is from Ahoy Comics, and this is probably the first thing from Ahoy that I've read since Wrong Earth, which I loved. But yeah, there's a couple of stories in here. There's the main story that is Babs, and then there's two other ones, but they're prose in the back, so there's no pictures to them. And the only thing I couldn't do it to myself, so I just ended up just reading her. But the main story, Babs, Garth Ennis is the writer, artist is Jason Burrows, colorist is Andy Troy, and then lettered by Rob Steen. So I didn't know this, but this is actually a volume 2. There was one before this, and I kind of knew it in the back of my head, and I was like, I wasn't sure, and I was way too lazy to look it up online because my phone wasn't accessible within 5 feet of me. So I ended up picking it up anyway, and sometimes I like to do that to see if you can actually pick up something that's a number 1 of a second volume of something that already exists. And it does tell you in there that there's a previous volume to pick it up. It'd be really cool if you read it. Do you have to have read it? No. Really cool. Basically, in short, You have two barbarian ladies, one of them Babs, the other one Izzy. And it's funny because it's supposed to be in a time of like the Roman Colosseum, where they have all these little Colosseums that pop up, and then they just have all these fights. But the writing is very contemporary, so sometimes it throws me off by what they're wearing and what they're saying, kind of thing. But I appreciate that. So it's sort of like reading Barbaric, where it's that contemporary, but he's supposed to be a barbarian, sort of like from the Iberian age or whatever. But basically, you have Babs in the beginning just beating the shit out of people in the arena and end up making a whole lot of money, and brings it back to Izzy, who was placing bets on her. And so they ended up winning a crap load of gold, and they binge all night. And you see sort of like the stuff that they're doing all night. And with each thing that they're doing, they're getting much more drunk than the previous time. And one of the last things that they end up doing is they're side by side on beds, both on top of two ogres, naked, doing whatever they need to do as business, talking about what they're going to do afterwards. Are they still buzzing? And do they still want to go out? And the answer, of course, is yes. So throughout this whole thing, throughout the whole entire fight, you get another magic weapon, another magic talking sword. But what's really cool is that the hilt on the sword are like little hands, so they move, so they show expression through their hands. And obviously the sword is just bitching out at her the entire time. Doesn't want to do what they're doing, which is killing all these people and stuff like that. And watching, I don't know how it's watching, but watching the two girls make love to these ogres, and he's just like trying to cover his eyes in disgust because he just doesn't want to see it. And so the story continues through. The next day, they're missing all their gold, which they were relying on to, I guess, move forward in their life, and find out. They sort of like do a back trace of what they did throughout the night, and you see like these whole scenarios of them singing karaoke, doing a whole bunch of the stuff, and find this what is it called? It's funny because hold on, let me find it. Because it's sort of like this. It's called Invest the Quest. So there's like this whole market, and in this one part of the market, there's a tent that says Invest the Quest. And basically, what you do is you invest money on people that are going on a campaign, hoping that when they return, you get more money back from what they bring back as their booty and stuff like that. So they ended up giving all the gold to this guy and Invest the Quest, and basically find out that the campaign that they invested in had already left. So they bought all new gear, blah, blah, and going to this place called, what is it called? Something in the wastelands. And they're like, there's nothing there, blah, blah. Why are they going there? They're going to go waste our money. So now they're going to go after the campaign that took the money and try to get their money back. There's a lot of hijinks and stuff like that. It just reminded me of sort of like a duo getting into trouble and stuff like that. There wasn't really like an antagonist to it. It's more about them getting there in their own way of being able to get all of this money and then lose it all in the same night, which was hilarious. And just being really freaking barbarians, just selfish, whatever that was going on. I found it to be fun. I think I actually might finish this one because I think these are all done in like either 5 or 6 issue stints. And then you move on to the next one, similar to like the stuff that we've been reading. Garth Ennis he's been writing for a long time and just really great. So he knows how to keep stuff really well paced. The creative team that they put together in regards to like the art and stuff like that, just it's a really good overall fun story. So it's funny because like the tension is all created by the situations that they create for themselves in this one. So if you read the first volume, I'm pretty sure you're going to pick up the second volume. If you haven't read this and you sort of kind of like Barbaric from the Vault, this is right up their alley. Babs, The Black Road South. This is a volume 2, number 1. You don't have to have read volume number 1 to get it. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm always a fan of Garth Ennis. If you know Garth, not always for the faint of heart. He could definitely get a little raw, right? And Jason
Welcome
Burroughs,
Back Frank is his, right?
Yep, yeah, that was so Jason Burroughs is one of his more frequent collaborators with Derek Robertson, and of course the late great Steve Dillon, who did Preacher with Garth, as well as Welcome Back Frank, one of the best Punisher stories. And Jason Burroughs, I think, did the whole it was the Crossed stuff with Garth. I think that's what it was. Yep.
Which was, it was too much for me.
Very visceral. Yeah. And Jason has a very detailed style. I have noticed that since Steve's passing, and Garth and Jason have been working a little bit more, that Jason's style is I feel veering closer to what Steve Dillon was doing. A little thicker lines, similar almost facial expressions. And I found this with Ribbon Queen from a couple of years ago that they did together. I noticed, I was like, oh, okay, there's definitely a development in style. The neat thing about Babs, I remember before the first miniseries came out, I remember reading something about how they intended this to be a straight up Red Sonja parody. Like Babs had like blue hair initially. I think had a name closer to like Red Sonja, but like not that. And they had to, and I guess the license holders for Red Sonja basically were like, yeah, you're going a little too close. And they actually had to rework, I think, a lot of the elements and retitle it before we got what we got for Babs.
That's funny.
Garth, I mean, I love him. He's always a good time. Though sometimes, yes, he can make me a little queasy. But I think this is probably a little safer bet.
For sure. Yeah, it was definitely a fun read. I think if it wasn't for certain scenes, I would make it in all ages. But yeah, definitely on the tone is definitely for the adults and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah, it was a good read.
Ogre sex and all that.
All right, cool. I had one more. This one's actually really cool. It's funny because as many of the Kickstarters that I've invested in, you just never know from synopsis to what you read to what you get. Sometimes it's a hit or a miss. I'm not going to say that everything that I backed on Kickstarter has been awesome because it just hasn't been my cup of tea for some of them. But anything that's pretty much in that superhero realm, if I find it interesting, I'll support it and get it. Rogues Gallery is what I picked up. This is from Hammer Comics. I'm definitely going to put the link inside below for you guys to check it out if you want to go ahead and support these guys over at Hammer Comics. But this is written by Owen Hammer, arts by Mariano Navarro, colors by Hernan Cabrera. They don't have a letter in here, so I wonder if one of these guys did it. But yeah, Hammer Comics after Owen Hammer. This book was a lot better than it I guess should have been or what I perceived it to be for a first issue. So basically it's almost black and white-ish in like regards to like, remember 80s comics, you knew who the villains were, you knew what their motives were, blah, blah, blah. Really similar to that, where you have the bad guy in the very beginning has all the good guys pretty much all pinned up. So they go through every single person's name, sort of like their power set and stuff like that, what they do. That's sort of like their Justice League kind of. And then obviously you have the bad guy who's just going to go into this long monologue, doesn't want to kill them, wants them to see how he's going to go ahead and destroy the world kind of thing. And so you have this whole thing where he has this machine that's going to destroy pretty much the world and stuff like that. And then you have the superheroes talking to each other telepathically through one of the members. And eventually you find that they escape. And so they're going to get ready to do this big battle or whatever it is. And on the bad guys, they have one of these guys that can teleport everybody out. So it teleports everybody out. They escape. And there's this whole like quip of the good guys talking about, this is like the 7th time that we've stopped this guy. But we just feel like we're in this perpetual circle of just doing the same thing over and over. So there's sort of like this like meta message of them realizing that they're stuck in this loop of, always being with this particular evil guy that has a whole bunch of henchmen, like sort of like their bad Justice League guys. And then they escape, and then it takes a really weird turn because it almost becomes political. And so basically what happened is that he had devised this, the bad guy devises this device. They're in Antarctica, and basically all the calculations that he had made was so that the device can go off without disturbing whatever was around them. But the device, because of global warming, the ice couldn't handle what the device was dishing out. So basically, the device ended up not working or exploding onto itself or whatever it was because of global warming. And so at the very end, they escape. They end up in this lair. And now the bad guys, the rogues gallery, is now going to go after the people that are responsible for global warming, which are the big corporations or whatever it is. So they're going to save the world so they can destroy it themselves. There's some fucking great art. Like, it took a twist, and I was scratching my head, and I was like, why the hell is he going to do it? It's cleverly done, and it hits you really like right in the face with that message. And that's why I went like, oh fuck, I really don't want to read this. But then it just, at the way that it ended, where they just take their swords and throw it into the freaking the hologram machine, talking about how they want to take care of all these guys, take them out so that they can get back at the superheroes and actually end up taking over the world. So they need to get rid of the actual bad guys. So bad guys taking out bad guys to be able to take out the good guys. I just thought it was a really clever concept, and it's the superhero trope. So how many different things can you do? And you're looking at the different superhero types, and you're like, all right, I know who this is. I know who this is. I know who this is. If you were to compare them to other superhero groups that are in sort of like the big two, all for that. But then the story itself is so different and unique in regards to what they do with them. But yeah, so Rogues Gallery from Hammer Comics, you can actually look them up on Kickstarter. Their Kickstarter is obviously over, but you might be able to get in contact with Owen Hammer and get yourself a copy. The only thing that I was really disappointed in, just super disappointed in, is now I have to wait for fucking issue 2. And who knows how long you have to wait for issue 2, because this one literally just came out. Yeah, I'm going to leave this for you because you definitely got to give it a read. I think
cool. I look forward to it.
Off of that.
Thanks.
So really pleasant surprise with the Rogues Gallery from Hammer Comics. Really, really good stuff. Yeah, so there you go. 3 books this week. Nice and easy, in and out. That's all that we have for you this week, guys. Be on the lookout. It's for some reason this month we've had some really awesome creators reaching out to be on the podcast. We just had Steve
McCardle.
That's what I said. McCardle on last week. We got David Barclay coming on this week to talk about his upcoming Kickstarter. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the book because I believe it's a Scottish title. So the way the Scots write their words in English translation doesn't sound the same at all. Like Neve is not spelled. You would think it would be Nieve or Neiv. It's like Nia something H. So yeah, I believe it's Sorsha, but I could be incorrect off of that. But when we talk to David, we'll get that all squared away. So yeah, look out later on this week for that Indie Creator Spotlight. And then I believe we have another gentleman on next week. I got to get all the details for that. So yeah, we're really excited about having guests on and talking comics and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I think we're done, kiddies. Good stuff. Yeah, if you like what you heard, subscribe to the podcast. John and I are here every single week. As long as there's books out, we're going to be here. Whether they're going to be on a crowdfunding or whether you pick them off the shelves from low comic book shop. We'll definitely make some recommendations. If you're a creator and want to come on to the podcast, want to promote yourself or a project that you got going on, indiecreatorcomics.com. Fill out the podcast form. John and I would love to have you on. On social media, you can find us at Indie Creator Comics on pretty much all the social media platforms. Last but not least, please support your local comic shops. Visit them, patronize them. Not in that way, but you know what I mean. Get some books and read, because without them, we wouldn't be able to do what we do every week, and we love to do this. John, where do you get your books from?
Well, I get my comics at The Joker's Child in Fair Lawn, New Jersey. And you know what else they have at The Joker's Child besides comics, toys, statues, and all other sorts of cool stuff? I'm asking you, Angel. You know what else they have?
What do they have?
Supplies. Protect your comics with protect your precious with comic bags and boards of all sizes. Store them in boxes. We got some with really cool pictures of your favorite characters, or if you're a minimalist, you got them in the plain white variety in both sizes. That's literally the long and short of it, folks. So get your comics, get your supplies at the Joker's Child in Fairlawn, New Jersey. If you can't make it to Fairlawn, patronize your local comic shop. I'm sure they have supplies as well as the comics and stuff too.
I'm pretty sure they do. All right, guys, we want to thank you for joining us on another episode of the Indie Creative Comics Podcast, where we are all about independent comics.